Oh my God, can it be? Is the 359 back? Yes, we are. With
Our
a whole
return.
new Cadillac of equipment in here, so bear with me while I get used to the new setup. And before we even get going, BBG here just wants to say thanks to all of you guys who have been staying loyal and hanging out with us and making the company think it's worthwhile to give us new equipment to keep trying to make the show better. On the show today, we've got the illustrious Ben Fox Rubin and Dan the Man Ackerman.
Woo!
I don't know why I went that route.
Gentlemen,
That was pretty. That was
I've
pretty
never
impressive.
heard that rhyme before.
It's because I just watched Good Morning Vietnam, and Robin Williams introduces the next producer of the show is Dan the Man Levitan in that
See?
movie.
Yes.
I would've
It
obscure
rhymes
reference.
with a lot of stuff.
I would have also
Man,
accepted
can,
Dan the
plan,
Body.
flan.
Dan
Doesn't
the
rhyme with body.
Ackerman. No, but it's a good nickname. Either way, for today we're gonna it's like now earnings season, so we're gonna get through a couple of the major earnings season big names. Google was last night. We'll also talk a little bit about billionaire Twitter with Musk and Zuckerberg trading
Barbs.
trading barbs is a good way to say it, over artificial intelligence. Also, Dan was on CBS this morning talking about implantable RFID chips. We'll talk a little bit about that. And if we have time, we'll talk about Snopes as well, which is looking for donations so it doesn't shut down.
Have we started the 4 minutes yet?
We haven't even started the
Okay.
4 minutes yet, but I'll get you out of here soon enough, not to worry. As usual, send in your questions and comments. BBG will get to the best ones at the end of the show. Without further ado, let's podcast.
Here we go in 3, 2.
Welcome to the 359. I'm Ben Fox Rubin, and with me today is special guest Dan Ackerman, heroic tech reviewer and author of The Tetris Effect.
Why, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
First up, Alphabet, Google's parent company, last month was hit with a massive $2.7 billion antitrust fine in Europe, but the search giant is shrugged off the problem and still ended up making gobs of money last quarter. Does this at all surprise you?
Well, no, because we've talked a lot about how X% of every online ad dollar goes to either Facebook or Google. And the interesting takeaway from this, for me at least, was that the revenue per click is going down, but the revenue overall for Google's online advertising is going up. Mm-hmm. So it's such a scale issue that they have such gigantic scale. They don't need to worry about the actual per click revenue on desktop in particular going down.
How much do you think people should be concerned, though, that Google is now so dominant, just like Facebook, not only in online advertising, but also in just like search, where this is how you find what you need on the internet, that they're just going to have too many of those levers of power and they're going to favor their own stuff? That's how they ended up getting trapped in the EU situation.
This is, well, it's very hard to not get trapped by EU regulations. They're sort of all encompassing all over the place. But this is why we invented the term too big to fail.
Mm-hmm. What, over Google?
It'll be fine. I mean, it's a perfect case. It's a perfect use case for it.
Do you think anybody could catch up to Google in search? Like, does Microsoft
Well, does
chance?
search even matter that much anymore? Or is it every other business that's important? Cloud services, personal software services, all these other things.
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube.
You don't think
What
of
about
Google and you
that?
go, oh, it's a search engine.
Yeah,
You think of it
definitely.
as the everything company,
just like Amazon,
just
the
like
everything
it's
store.
the everything store.
So next, moving on, billionaire Twitter is all aflutter yet again today. During a Facebook Q&A, Mark Zuckerberg on Sunday called it, quote, pretty irresponsible to trade, quote, doomsday scenarios about AI. Elon Musk, who has raised concerns about this in the past, shot back on Twitter today saying Zuck's, quote, this is not very nice, understanding of the subject is limited. Okay. I mean, like, I understand that talking about billionaire Twitter, especially because, like, Donald Trump is now president and, he trades barbs with folks all the time. This is now what Twitter has turned into. But
Now, to be fair, Zuckerberg didn't say this on Twitter. He did it during a Facebook Live from his own backyard while having a barbecue, responding to a viewer question about the state of artificial intelligence and if it's something we should be concerned about. He said, he was basically saying he took a more positive view.
this is the state of our conversation, though.
It's the Star Trek view where the future is actually good and positive and technology means good things for people.
Look, I'm not suggesting that a 4-minute podcast is the best place to
adjudicate these issues.
To adjudicate like whether generalized AI is going to dominate us or not, but I don't know that Twitter is either. So
It's a great place to fire off a 3 a.m. tweet, whether you're complaining about your attorney general or the CEO of Facebook.
hey, it's great for everybody. Also, Dan, so you were on CBS this morning, talking about RFID chips, implantable RFID chips. Tell me a bit
My
about
talking head popped up for a few seconds this morning in a report about a company in Wisconsin that is offering employees optionally the option to have an RFID little chip implanted in their hand, and you can use that in place of your ID card to open doors, to log into your computer, to buy stuff from the vending machine in the office, or to use the copy machine. And it's been done in Europe a couple of times. It's really kind of a publicity stunt because this company, Three Square, they make vending machines basically. So it's I get that it works for their business model. They want to encourage this sort of thing. Imagine if you go up and buy anything just by swiping your hand. But you know what? You can turn, location tracking on your phone off if you want to. You can leave your ID card at home.
And this
you can't take this thing out of your hand
but
without.
that is voluntary, right?
But what happens when it goes from voluntary to, well, you don't have to, but company culture strongly recommends it?
I find this highly, highly troubling.
And so do a lot of people, and I feel like that's the natural reaction. When they come to chip you.
Yeah. Ugh. Last, just wanted to mention the longtime debunking website Snopes is in a bit of a legal tussle, and it's asking for donations to stay afloat. Good news, it's already hit its goal of raising $500,000 on a GoFundMe page. But if you want to throw them a few more bucks, go for it. Anyway, if you want to read more about these stories, check us out on CNET. I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
And I'm Dan Ackerman.
Thanks for listening.
We have a good question in the chat. It's not entirely relevant to everything we're talking about today, but excuse me, I'm having a hard time reading at this point for some odd reason. Sarab Charde, what do you think about Google Android Octopus?
Oh, the Android O?
Is that really the new name?
No.
Okay.
No. It was like an Easter
They're
egg
convinced.
that they threw
They're
in.
convinced it is.
Maybe
I don't
it should
think
be.
so. It's an octopus, even if you coated it with sugar, is not candy, as far as I could tell. Maybe it is in certain countries, but I think that they're probably going to go with Oreo. I think octopus was just like a fun little way of throwing it in there.
I guess they have used kind of licensed, trademark names before. They used Kit Kat, right?
Why? Who owns Oreo? Why wouldn't the
Nabisco.
Oreo people?
Oh, look at that. See?
Why wouldn't they be all over something like that?
Well, it was like when they wouldn't let Steven Spielberg use M&Ms in E.T., and he had to switch to Reese's Pieces instead. And look what it did for that brand.
Oh, my God.
This is a true movie story.
This is why I eat Reese's Pieces to this day.
I thought that you were going to say, this is why you have me on here, so I can give you this
it's
important
a very good reference.
80s movie licensing trivia.
Either way, I don't think it's going to be octopus, but there's entirely possible that they decide to switch things up and go with something else.
Doesn't matter
other than
because
candy.
what percentage of people are going to get it on their phones within the first year or so anyway?
Very
The
good
fragmentation in Android is so out of control. You won't have octopus, Oreo, whatever.
Octopus Oreos.
That's an exciting new flavor. They're experimenting. It's like the weird potato chip flavors that they keep coming up with. Octopus Oreo. There you go. Done.
All right, so coming from Michael Brown, our old buddy Michael Brown.
Hey, Michael Brown.
Welcome back. How is it that Google is hit with an army of fines, whereas Apple doesn't? Could it be that Google is still not so great at businessing?
I don't know. You want to jump in on that one? That is a very good point.
I think Apple gets they have a lot of problems, I think, with their Irish tax situation.
Correct.
But they're also not in as many businesses as Google is in terms of the person tracking and the advertising. And it is very difficult to not run afoul of European regulators who take a much different view of commerce and the rights of companies versus the rights of individuals than we have here in the U.S.
And not only that, Apple, their biggest business is smartphones, and in phones, they are still, I think they're number 2 to Samsung. And Samsung and Apple both have so many competitors. So it would be hard. I mean, I'd want to look into it a little bit more. So it's a very good question from Michael, but
mostly the fines are about information tracking and how they use
search results.
Yeah.
This one in specific, I think it was around shopping results, where Google favored its own shopping sites or services versus competitors. With Apple, it would be a little bit harder for them to do something like that because they don't control the market as much as Google does in certain areas.
Before we go ahead and move on to some more questions, I actually have one. Dan, this whole microchip thing is creeping me out to no end.
You're getting yours on Friday, so get ready.
Thanks, CBS. So Les
Les.
can know where I'm at any given time.
Les wants to know what you're thinking.
It's a Star Trek Discovery tie-in. Okay, everyone on the future Enterprise is going to have a hand wave, door open implant chip.
Oh, really?
right,
So the door doesn't open for you. You have to wave your hand.
Right. You don't want a Klingon
technology.
getting in there.
No, come on. My thought is, though, like, would you do this if was an option, just being the more tech savvy of us here today?
I think I'm more tech savvy, so I would definitely not do it because I'm aware of what that entails. You see people getting paranoid about RFID chips going back years. You know, someone's going to come up behind me in the subway and have a scanner in their pocket and get up, right close to my pocket. So it's not just the receivers that you know about; it's the ones that you don't know about.
Right.
And that's why they sell those ridiculous like lead-lined passport holders to put your RFID chip passports in.
One of my primary concerns with that too, and we were talking about this yesterday, was how are you supposed to update it? Granted, I understand that RFID chips don't really change year to year,
and I don't think the data is carried on the chip. It's more of a signifier to summon your cloud data.
Right. That being said, technology is always improving.
A beacon, if you will.
5 years from now, you probably would want to change it. And let's say something goes haywire with it, you're going to have to go to your doctor to fish the damn thing out and replace it. That just sounds like a bad idea to me.
Of course.
I mean, they've been doing it to pets for years, though.
That's the thing. If they use the pet technology on you, maybe you want to think twice about that.
I am not a pet.
Yet.
Damn dirty apes.
You know, it's going to make, your AI, superpowered AI is going to make you their pet, and then they will chip you.
Oh, God.
And then Zuckerberg will be,
No.
the AI will be chipping. He'll be go, I was wrong. Elon Musk was right.
Welcome our robot overlords.
You have to say that every once in a while just to get it on the record.
Officially do not like this podcast anymore. This is freaking me out.
Calling out to the chat, who would volunteer for something like this? Do you see potential benefits in your lot in life? Would this actually be beneficial to you? We got a hard no from Danny Green.
Of course. And Danny Green, what's up, man?
And to expand on this, Imagine Sagi asks, any way of turning the implanted microchip off? Seems like it's been around for 5+ years with
lead
limited
gloves.
updates.
Lead gloves. Good question, Imagine Sagi, by
That's
the
a
way.
really good question. Because, I mean, so I saw Scott Stein brought something by the other day that I was looking at, and it was a wearable and the same idea. But that's an on case-by-case
different.
voluntary opt-in situation. But the idea of this, like, wave your arm, open the door, that's awesome. Having it under my skin, not awesome.
Implantables,
Maybe a bracelet.
In general, implantables have been used for medical reasons, like a pacemaker or, I don't know, like a hip replacement, what have you, where you basically need it to continue to live or to substantially increase your mobility. This is to buy
Or to increase
stuff
your
at the
vending
vending machine.
efficiency.
No.
Keep track of how many copies you make on the office copier.
Ben says
Who
no.
uses an office copier? I have not used. I've been here 12 years. I've never used a copy machine in this office. once.
You're very
You don't
techy.
believe in dead trees?
I don't. I just don't believe in photocopies. I don't know.
I just wonder, like, would that cause complications with other electronics? Would you
right.
set off metal detectors? Would you screw up MRI machines?
Or you could screw up your phone, like you're talking on your phone.
I thought about that as would you get a Bluetooth dropout, right? And somebody's like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "Oh, that's me."
I'm paired to my hand.
The phone implant comes
that
next.
sounded wrong. I take back the comment.
The first step on the slippery slope towards transhumanism,
Yep.
which I believe Elon Musk also warns against.
Yes. Look, Elon Musk and I think Bill Gates and a handful of other important tech billionaires have all talked about the fact that generalized AI could end up being a problem. They've presented all these doomsday scenarios. I get it that Mark Zuckerberg is trying to say, like, listen, stop acting like Chicken Little about this whole thing. But, like, once the cat's out of the bag, the cat's out of the bag. So, like, let's at
Go
least
back
talk
to
about
great technology futurists of the past, like James Cameron.
it. James
Who
Cameron.
foretold this very eloquently in his classic work, The Terminator.
That is where we're headed.
According to Michael Brown, it sure is. He says, I know I wouldn't. I'd prefer ambient computing with my natural biometrics, eyes, fingerprint, voice. He says, the moment we start adding hardware within ourselves for non-health reasons, I think that's a step towards a dark place. I think he's right.
Great
Transhumanism,
comment.
the merging of man and machine.
Right. I mean, like the problem
Like the
is
cyborgs in Logan?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet. Thanks for the spoiler.
I can't
They're
believe
in the
we.
trailers.
I'm pretty impressed that we merged those two completely separate stories.
Also, it's
into
on home
one.
video. What are you waiting for?
I actually have it. I just haven't watched it.
Oh my God, get to that.
I can't get through a movie. I'm too old. All night, I'm like,
In
I'm
your own
tired.
home.
Oh. It takes me like 4 nights to watch one movie. I watched one movie all the way through this weekend, and I greatly regretted it.
Which
Skull
movie?
Island,
Skull Island.
the King Kong movie with Samuel L. Jackson
It
and
is what it
Loki.
is. It's enjoyable.
The whole thing is a waste, except for the after the credits scene, which redeemed the entire film.
I mean, it's doofy, but it's fun, and it's one of the better.
Did you
King
see
Kong
the
movies
after
made in a
credit
while.
scene?
Yeah.
To me,
Not
I was
just
like,
anything.
I literally gave a little fist pump when I saw it.
Mega
I was like,
money
I was like,
shot
I'm
right
into
there.
that. Yeah.
Okay, back to the Q&A.
Actually, on that note, we have a few newbies in the crowd today. First and foremost, shout out to all our regulars, Danny, Michael, Imagine Sagi, so on and so
Sagi.
forth. But we want to welcome folks like Caleb into the show. He's asking, what exactly is this about? How do we describe this?
Wait, what?
Well,
The
he says
359 podcast? We're
Yeah,
256 episodes in. It's too late.
No,
I know,
We're
I know,
always
I'm
welcoming
kidding.
new faces,
Always
and
welcome.
new voices.
Thank you for coming.
We're a podcast
We're a podcast. We do podcasts. No,
and
we
other
do,
cast
we do
potting things.
We do the tech news of the day. I mean, like, but look, it's the dead of the summer, so we kind of sometimes take the opportunity to talk about all sorts of stuff. Like, I don't think this Wisconsin RFID chip thing is particularly new, but it certainly is an interesting topic. So,
And we had somebody kind of look at it firsthand here.
yeah. Oh, we lost Dan.
He's tuned
Right
out
here,
at this
sorry.
point. He's slacking
I'm tweeting.
on 2 levels.
He's busy writing stories.
So yeah,
By the way, let's move some books.
so
The
Caleb,
Tetris Effect.
we're a podcast. We started as an audio podcast, which you can still subscribe to on a number of different platforms. But we figured, hey, why not turn this into more of like a morning show? We're not. Well, I'm not going to say we're not doing anything here anyways, but in the CNET New York office, we're in early. We got good stories to ramble about. It kind of gets us our warm up for the day, and then we like to invite you guys in to hop into the chat and hit us with Q&A, and it really gets all of our brain juices flowing first thing in the morning. Mm-hmm. So thanks for coming.
That was
If
well
you count,
done.
11 a.m. is first thing in the morning.
Well,
Yeah. For
granted,
us.
we're
Which I do, frankly.
we're strategically trying to span the time zones here.
Bi-coastal.
Yes. Michael Brown says movies like Transcendence come into mind, which is a great movie, but nanotechnology is awesome but freaky. Yeah, absolutely.
All this stuff is coming. I mean, that's the thing. And luckily, it's humans that are creating it right now. Situation when robots start to create other robots.
Create their own implantables for you.
Yeah.
And
or
then tell
like-
you it's optional, but give you a little robot wink.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry, it's optional.
Right. And how do we know Mark Zuckerberg isn't a robot already?
He was replaced back in 2004.
Yeah, this is Zuck oh. 2.0.
It's like the Paul McCartney, conspiracy theories, the Paul is dead theories, where he was replaced by a lookalike.
Oh, right.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, it's the
Paul
same
is
thing.
dead.
Who
That-
was the walrus?
Yeah.
I
If you look
remember
on the
that.
cover of Abbey Road, he's barefoot, and everyone else has shoes
I know,
on.
I know.
Took it
And
as
he
some
was
kind of
smoking
way.
a cigarette. Yeah. You're throwing some good references out today.
History repeats itself.
The world of
First Paul, then
overanalyzing.
Zuck.
Josh says, I would want to be able to take off my connected device when I want to disconnect as
Yeah,
a
just chop your
smartwatch
hand off.
user.
It's fine.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I
if
don't
we're
see what the problem is.
If we're putting chips in people anyways, why not have modular body parts like the
Yeah.
what was the Google
Like a
phone?
Motorola phone,
A
modular.
Motorola. What-
Ugh.
I don't know.
Yeah. So you chop your hand off and then you just go to the Apple store and buy a new hand.
I mean, have
right?
you seen Hook? Have you seen Dustin Hoffman
Have
and
you
Hook?
seen the
All
new
the
Apple
utility Hook?
hand? Apple hand is
You're holding
really
it wrong.
nice.
It really works. You're just holding it wrong.
Right.
Michael Brown's asking, how would chips help CNET? Dan, you want to floor that one?
Wait, you mean like
How it
implantable chips?
Oh, I thought
Employees?
it meant like
Implantable
Doritos.
chips.
Because I
Yeah,
got
right.
some of those. They help
Right.
me every day.
I mean, they want different companies have this idea that if you had this, it would replace that little magstripe ID card you use to swipe into your office, swipe out, access your computer.
But it works. It works. It's not hard to use.
Yeah, but
we
I could
have
steal your. But I
ID
could.
cards on my
yeah,
belt
but
and
I
my
could steal
wallet.
your card. You could lose your
You
card.
could steal my hand.
That's true. Listen, once
it
once
sounds
we're
more
chopping off
morbid.
hands, it's no holds barred there.
Yeah.
They always say, oh, you got your fingerprint locked. It's biometric. It's very secure. Then they're taking thumbs.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when it's the whole hand?
Yeah. I mean, usually it's supposed to be a live thumb, though. It needs to be
You
attached
keep
to the body
it.
to actually
You
work.
keep it warm for a while. I've looked this up. I mean, I got to clear my history.
I feel like
Pardon
they've done this in like Mission Impossible
They
or
have.
Minority Report
They
or
have.
something.
It's really like it starts once you talk about biometrics, it start getting really morbid because they're like, all right, how do we get the body parts so that we can sneak in?
Yeah, all right. No thanks. And on that note, it's probably a perfect place
Oh, yeah.
to conclude for the day and unfortunately for the week. This has been a great test drive.
Oh, no. Wait, aren't we back tomorrow?
I thought
Tuesday,
we weren't
right?
back tomorrow.
We are back tomorrow. Tomorrow's Wednesday.
Oh, tomorrow's. I kept thinking today's
Tomorrow's
already Wednesday.
Yeah.
All right, we do have one more.
We aren't in on Thursday, though. Sorry, folks, but we will be back tomorrow, and then
The
again
week
on
following, we're back full force.
full force.
Doing a 3-day week. You're like Howard Stern.
Yeah. Sorry. We're big shots. We're big shots. We can do what we want.
Either way, thanks for putting up with us during the hiatus, and we're really happy to get back into gear here.
Yeah, definitely. My like script isn't up, so I'm just gonna have to wing it. The 359 is available on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, SoundCloud, FeedBurner, Google Play Music, and of course on CNET.com. Dan Ackerman, thank you very much for being
My
here.
pleasure.
BBG, working the controls. Thanks everybody. We'll be back tomorrow.
See ya.